We're going to be setting up the telescope tonight, high up in the canyon, high elevation, clear crystal blue skies, and somewhere around here there are ancient petroglyphs. Come along, let's see what we can find. What about you, Shadow? You found them yet? Here's some right here. You don't want to touch these with your hands. The acid from your hands, your fingers can damage them. But that is a very common petroglyph, the arch, and also these dots. You see that a lot. I'm assuming that's some kind of a, a counting system. All right, I might need my hands here. I'm going to put this camera down. Let's see what we have here. Oh yeah. So, there's an animal there with horns. Could be a mountain goat. Another one there that looks like it has horns. This looks like a baby. All right, a human, long, tall, and another animal. Looks like a lot of them may have weathered off. This is called, this black that you see here is called desert varnish. And how it forms, it's kind of an iron secretion from the sandstone that is a chemical reaction over many, many years. And there's some mystery to it, by the way, so I don't mean to sound like I am the authority on it. I've read different thoughts on it, but it forms, the prevalent thought anyway, is that it forms from the sun, the heat, and then occasional rain pulling out the iron, and it kind of forms this desert varnish, and it turns out to be harder than the sandstone that it forms on. So sometimes I've seen pieces of desert varnish. You can see some right there. It actually is sticking up above the weathered, eroded sandstone because it's harder. All right, getting back down without touching anything. I'm just going to jump. All right. Yeah, there's not a lot here, but there are some. These are good ones right here. There's a little something that was once there, and then we already looked at that rainbow. And then the dots. All right. We're just going to check around here for just more petroglyphs. I've never checked out this area right along here, and there's all this desert varnish. So it stands to reason, since we already found some petroglyphs right close by, that there might be some. I think I see some. I think I see some up there. You know, I'm not so sure I do. It could be some that have weathered away a lot. But I can't say with confidence that there are petroglyphs up there. but we did find some, right? And they're pretty cool. The image that we're going to go after tonight is catalog number NGC 6946. It's also known as the Fireworks Galaxy. And that is because there's a lot going on in NGC 6946. For example, it's a spiral galaxy that is approximately half the size of our Milky Way, about half the number of stars. And our Milky Way has approximately 500 billion stars. I mean, a mere 500 billion stars. The Fireworks Galaxy, with half the number of stars of the Milky Way, has had over 10 supernova in the past 100 years. The Milky Way averages about 1 a century, 10 times the Milky Way, the supernova activity. It's also a starburst galaxy, which is a term used to describe a galaxy that has an unusually high level of new star creation. So it is a galaxy that is rapidly creating new stars. It is a galaxy that has an unusual high number of supernova events. And there's a bug on the back of my head. And it is a galaxy that is mysterious in other ways as well. What are you going after? My gosh. Really? Oh, jeez. The Fireworks Galaxy is approximately 25 million light years from Earth. And it is difficult to see because we have to cross through the plane, the horizontal plane of the Milky Way, to then get beyond the Milky Way and out 25 million light years, to where the Fireworks Galaxy is. So there's a lot of stuff between us and the Fireworks Galaxy. In 2009, a star in the Fireworks Galaxy went brilliantly bright. It was a supernova. It reached the point where it was 1 million times brighter than our sun over the span of several months. And then suddenly it all disappeared. The observations that we were able to see from the Hubble telescope indicated that it collapsed into a black hole. And all of that light and all of that matter is now deep in, there is a bug around me, deep in the middle of a black hole. You know, coming to these kind of places to set up the telescope is sort of like visiting Mars and then observing the universe from there. It's just so red. It's like Mars. We've actually had some rain recently and there's water. I love these round holes that you can see. It's carved out by the wind. Eventually it makes us all the way through, and that's where you get the arches. Shadow found water. That's where you want to go for water after it rains. It looks like that one's dried up, but when you're in the desert, you kind of start to figure out where you might find water. Although I don't need water. I'm just doing it for fun. See that lava on the top of that wall, that canyon wall right up there? You see, that is how this area was formed geologically. Ancient seabed, thrust up thousands of feet, followed by volcanic activity that covered the whole area with a big, thick blanket of basalt, lava rock. And then as the weather eroded the softer sandstone away underneath that harder basalt, it formed canyons, and then the lava rock would break off and roll down, and now we have all this lava rock down here at the bottom. Absolutely spectacular as far as beauty goes. The contrast, the red and the black and the green, incredible. And look at those skies. It doesn't get any better than this. I picked this site right here because it's very secluded. However, I brought out the big scope, the 10-inch aperture Newtonian. It's a big scope, good for galaxies, but it is a sail in the wind. The slightest breeze and it will move a little bit. I was going to set up right here with the vehicle kind of shielding the wind from below, but you know, I think I'm going to move and go up higher. I noticed as we were walking, it was a little calmer. I'm going to think on that for a minute. I'll make up my decision. Well, I did indeed decide to move. This little cove spot right here, I think is the best place for wind protection. It was just a little windy down there for my liking, down at the bottom end. And I can shield a little bit with the truck as well. The wind is coming from the south, and that's south that direction. So this is a beautiful little spot. We're all alone. There's nobody up here tonight. I mean, nobody. All right, so we're gonna set up right there. And I'm gonna get going because I think it's gonna get dark pretty soon. That is a full moon. And full moons are very difficult to do astrophotography under because they're like a great big source of light pollution. Nonetheless, we are actively imaging and we've made progress. As I mentioned earlier, we are imaging tonight with the great big Dobsonian. It is a beast of a telescope, which is great for galaxies that are 25 million light years away. There we go. 1,200 millimeter focal length. It's a big scope, and I have really good luck with it on galaxies. So let me show you what we've got so far. Okay, so you are looking at the Fireworks Galaxy, 25 million light years from Earth. A spiral galaxy. It's also known as a barred spiral galaxy. You can't see the bar very well in this. After I've processed it tomorrow, it might show up a little more. So this will look much better when I'm done processing it tomorrow. But I can already see some just brilliant things going on inside this galaxy. I can see why they call it the Fireworks Galaxy. I mean, there's nebulae in there. I mean, I can see deep patches of space dust and gases, and I can see where new stars are being born. It's just bright and brilliant. I mean, it's really remarkable that we can see a galaxy 25 million light years away and see activity going on. And as I mentioned earlier, we've observed over 10 supernovas in the last century in this galaxy. The Milky Way's had averages 1 every 100 years. So this is a very active galaxy. Super, super cool. It's also got a brilliant bright core. So we're just going to let the rig do its thing here. And in the meantime, what I've got going on is dinner. This is buffalo-style chicken mac and cheese. I think it's looking pretty good. I need to let it just cool a little bit more. But these Mountain House meals here, don't knock them. They're actually really good. Kind of expensive, but super convenient and really good. So let's let that just cool a little bit. I'm just going to take and find myself a comfortable spot to sit and look at that moon while dinner's cooling. That's incredible. Absolutely beautiful up here tonight. Well, I've been awake for a little bit, just kind of pulling myself together. Went to bed real late last night, probably about 2 a.m. And it's about 8 a.m. right now. I've been up for about an hour. And the heat is already kicking in. The sun is just peering over the cliffs there. But the session last night, it went, I would say, fairly well. The problem, of course, always is a full moon. And the full moon does introduce a lot of light pollution. There's just no way around that. There's some filters that can be used to try to help with it, but there's nothing like an absolute dark sky and a big bright full moon. It complicates things. Nonetheless, I think we captured a pretty good image. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into fast pace mode before that sun there gets up too far. I'm going to put all this away, and then I'm going to take you for a drive. The sun will be up a little higher. I'm just going to take you for a drive up and down this beautiful canyon. The scenery is absolutely spectacular. I do have to show you one more thing though. When you go out camping to do astrophotography, if you forget something, I mean, that's just a disaster because the whole session can be ruined if you just forget, one critical component. And there's a lot of components that come together when you put all of the gear together. So I forgot something. Let's see if you can figure out what I forgot. What did I forget that's so critically important? That's right. I brought 2 weights, which is all I need when I'm shooting with the Maxitoff Newtonian telescope. But when I'm shooting with this beast, I need more weight to balance it. And so you get innovative, right? What can you use for weights? Well, water bottles. And I balanced it out perfectly with water bottles. So, necessity is the mother of invention. It worked just fine. My tracking was good. Balance was on. Yeah, no problems there. What can I say? Oh, and of course, I'll show you the image of the fireworks galaxy at the end of the video.